Hey everyone, Mac Gardner here, certified financial planner, author of Motivate Your Money. I am here with the one, the only Dominique Henderson. Dominique, how are you, good sir?
What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm
Happy
doing
Friday.
great.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday, happy Friday. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Hey, Dom, I've known you for years. I've followed you and your work for years, but for those folks who may be living under a rock somewhere, if you could share with us a little bit about your background, a little bit about you and your mission, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm just a normal dude that's trying to have a somewhat of a, I guess maybe a unique message that fits into the fabric of people's lives. So if you cut me open, and I would probably bleed the fact that I feel that real financial advice has the ability to change family trees. And I strongly believe everybody should get an opportunity to change their family tree. So that's what I do. That's why I do what I do. That looks like having my own RIA, which I kind of consider the lab, if you will. I never like to, I like to eat my own cooking. So when I'm doing coaching and consulting on the Jumpstart side with people that are trying to enter the industry, make impact, start their own firms, whatever they're trying to do, because I've done a number of those things over the years. I like to be able to say, yeah, because I do this in my firm, not because I read it in a book
Yeah.
or I did it 25 years ago, I've been in the industry long enough. I'm almost able to say that. Don't let my boyish looks fool you. But so yeah, so that's my ethos. As we were chopping it up in the digital green room before, I love family. Been married to the same woman for 26 years, have 3 adult children, and I'm just doing my thing over here, just being down.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Dom. So as we were sitting down and sort of putting this project together, I realized that there's a top three for everything in life, right? And like there's a top three for sodas, a top three for cereals, a top three for cars. And I thought, what if we could ask some of the industry leaders, thought leaders, what their top three words of advice, I call them motivational money messages, would be when it
Mm.
comes to money. So Dom, what would your top three motivational money messages be?
I love this. It makes you think, um, so that you're not just saying something. But these are 3 things that I think I probably haven't crystallized until you made me think about them. But I live them and I believe them, which is money is spiritual.
Okay.
Money is not as valuable as your time,
Mm-hmm.
or speaking directly to me, my time. And then money is indifferent. So
Ooh.
money is spiritual.
Oh, let's
Money is
talk about
not
that.
as valuable as your
There we
time.
go. I'm rolling up the sleeves. There we go.
And money is indifferent. So let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Money is spiritual. I think that when I am working with a client, and regardless of how much I charge them to work with me, they are receiving, through my experience of financial planning and talking to them and doing all this kind of stuff, they're receiving my collection of ideas, and they're receiving something I feel that is very intangible, but it shows up as
Mm,
tangible things.
I got you.
I just brought on a client this past week, and almost word for word, what she said to me is, she's like, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. This is like talking to a doctor. This feels so good.
Hmm.
Can't put a price tag on the
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
But it kind of intimates what I'm trying to say about money is spiritual. The
Mm,
feeling she was getting by the collection of ideas we were sharing
mm.
gave her this release that is not necessarily something she can have in her
Yeah.
hands, like
Yeah.
the money she exchanges,
Mhm.
but then again, it is, right?
And what I love about the path that you've taken with that first one, I like to say, that all we are at the end of our days is a collection of stories, right?
Mm,
We go through life hearing and sharing stories. And those stories, that energy that we convey, it's not tangible. It isn't. But the impact those stories can have, starting kids early when it comes to talking to money, talking to your client and sharing ideas, concepts, alternatives that they never thought of before can be changed. It can be inspiring and can lead to some significant change for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And just as a side note, I often consult with, guys and gals that are trying to build their own firm. And And what I try to explain with them, or to them rather, is this concept of what I'm talking about right now is like largely what we do. I put it up there, although I've never practiced medicine, I put it up there with it
Mhm.
because we sit in such a sacred seat and we're really able to kind of be like this rudder that steers a client,
Mhm.
in a certain direction or not based on the advice that we give.
Mhm.
And so I think that's deeply spiritual.
For sure. All right. Point two. What you got?
Money is not as valuable as your time. I know, like in our culture, we say this, and this is not original. I got this from a online mentor of mine, Dr. Myron Golden. Money is infinitely more valuable than your time. Like
Mhm.
our culture is like time is money, time is money. No, that's not correct because, and I'll present it really easily. Okay, I will write you a check for $1 million, Mac. But the caveat to that is at the end of the day today or tonight at midnight, you have to end your life. Well, nobody's going
Mm.
to take that trade.
Yeah.
And that means you know intuitively that your time is more valuable than money. And I think this is a good guide stone for me, and maybe other people can find application to this, is it helps me filter out a lot of things in my life
Mm.
that the difference between important and necessary
Mhm. Mhm.
and priorities, and
Mhm.
even who I work with. Because if people don't understand that dynamic in that trade, we're probably not going to
Not
be
a
able
good
to,
fit. Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
that alleviates a lot of stress and anxiety that I don't even have to go through for me and also for them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think understanding that is important.
I've had this conversation with quite a few folks, and a few of them echoed that sentiment about um, value systems and making sure they are aligned with your money. And you're right, realizing that your time is probably the most valuable thing that you have, your ability to earn and generate income over time is something that is a very strong factor in a lot of financial decisions that sometimes people don't think about. Sadly, they really don't. They view the dollar. They view the dollar. I say people focus on the roots and not the fruits of
Mhm.
finances.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
focusing on the roots and understanding that the decisions that you make aligned properly with your value system really pushes and drives a lot of the financial decisions that we make. So I think that's a great one. All right, number three. What do we got?
But let
There's
me
more. Here we go. There's more.
a parenthetical to that. That's good. I love this whole alignment issue, and I think it's very hard for us to be incongruent inside and then think we're going to have
Yes. Yeah.
optimal money decisions. That doesn't work that way. You
Yep.
have to align how you feel about a particular thing. Like so with money, if you're saying you value money, but then we're looking at your bank statements or your investments and we don't see those values lining up, that incongruency is going to fall. It's going to cause for failures
Oh, for sure.
in various ways. So I'm glad you said that whole alignment. I think that's huge. I think that's
Yeah.
huge.
I mean, part of why I title my book Motivate Your Money is because I always tell people whatever motivates you, motivates your money. It's not the other way around. You show me what's on your bank account, you show me where your expenses go, and I tell you exactly what motivates you. It's really as simple as that.
Well, the wisest man of all time. I mean, a lot of people say Solomon, but actually it was Jesus, and he said, "Where your treasure is, your heart will be also." So, I mean, yeah.
Yep. There you go. Jesus said it. There you go. All right, brother. What's point number three, man?
Money is indifferent. So I think there's a lot of, at least there's conjecture around, you know, if I'm making money and doing well, that means I had to do something bad to someone in order to get to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say to that person is money's indifferent. It's not racist. It's not prejudice. It's not chauvinist. It's not any other ist.
Mm-hmm.
Is this really waiting on the principles, waiting on someone to apply the principles,
Mm-hmm.
the right principles to possess it?
Yep.
So it's indifferent. It's principles based.
Yeah.
And so what I often tell people is if you're in a place, I have this diagram that obviously we can't get into right now, but at the top of it is results. And whether or not you're getting good results or bad results,
Mm-hmm.
results that are leading to freedom or results that are leading towards bondage, they're all a matter of your mindset. Did
Mm-hmm.
you follow the principles? Did you put in the deliberate practice of acting, behaving in a certain way? And this goes for everything,
Yeah.
including your money. It's
Yep.
indifferent. It's
Habits,
principle.
behaviors, traits. Habits, behaviors, traits. I like to say that people care what you sound like. People care what you look like. People care where you're from. Money doesn't. Money's just a tool. Money is simply a tool. And the
Yeah.
earlier we learn how to use it and how to implement it uh, in alignment with the strong financial habits, strong financial behaviors, which eventually become the strong financial traits, if you have that guidance, I think amazing things will happen. So I agree with you 1,000% on point number three, that money is indifferent. It's simply a tool. You can't blame a hammer for being a hammer. It's a it's a hammer.
And
You
then
know?
don't try to use that hammer for something it's not intended for, because then that's called abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we have to, I think, understanding what things are the purpose of those things, and then
Mm-hmm.
also understanding, making sure we have the right definitions around what were intended for. Is
Man, I knew this was going to be a good one, Dom. I knew it was. I knew it was. I knew you would not disappoint when it comes to great top three. If you could, please, for our audience, give us a recap of what you believe your top three motivational money messages would be.
Yes, money is spiritual. I think that, the intangible idea of where our human capital can go, right? Most of our human capital, if we put the time in, shows up as financial capital. Let's call that money.
Mhm.
And we can take that financial capital and do things. We can spend it, we can invest it, we can save it, we can do whatever. But just recognize that money is spiritual. And typically, when you are exchanging some idea that is outside yourself with value to others, money will find you. Money also is not as valuable as your time. You have to realize that that limited resource of your time is one of the things that we have to optimize and be really cognizant of, and I would say even prioritize, so
Mhm.
that the money decisions that we make are reflective of that. And then money is indifferent. So there's no reason that we should not be. Well, let's put it this way: let's not misuse or abuse the tool of money for other purposes when it's generally not intended for those things. So
I love every one of those points. Dom, you are doing amazing things. You've done amazing things. You will continue to do amazing things for both your clients,
thank you, my
for
brother.
the financial advisory community, for CFPs or folks that are aspiring to become CFPs. And I like to say that, the financial life journey is a long one, right? Whatever motivates your money, brother. And the journey does continue.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the time.